Hi, welcome everybody. Super nice to be here for another Decommunity Live. Today, I'm here with Isaac Korn. He's the Senior Director of Innovation at Perry Ellis, and I'm super excited to discuss with you a little bit more about what innovation means to you, how you think about it in the grand scheme of things, and what's to come. So without further ado, welcome Isaac. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, how are you? Nice meeting you. Nice meeting everybody out there. Isaac Korn, Senior Director of Innovation at Perry Ellis International. I've been with the company, I think it's 10 years from this week. I remember that I started the day after Labor Day, and today it's Labor Day here in the States. So it's been 10 years exactly to the dot. That's great. My background is I'm an industrial engineer by trade. I've been in the fashion industry all of my life. My family has been in the fashion industry. I learned about the fashion industry very early in the game. My summer internships were in a line, checking out how garments were built, how everything was folded to put it on an order and to be able to ship out. So that's always been part of me. And I had the opportunity to be able to work in a company that allowed me to do the two things that I love, that it's work in fashion and be able to work in technology and work in innovation. So that's a real fortune that not a lot of people are able to have, and I'm able to enjoy it. So that's a little bit about me.
Amazing. So let's dive into it. And I'd love to know from you, having been in the space for so long, what innovation is for you.
So innovation, it's all about breaking boundaries. It's about thinking differently. It's about creating and improving new solutions. So it's all about, for me, I always think about it, it's more about streamlined processes, creating things that make your life easier, and even creating things that you don't know that you need, but actually are going to be able to make a change. So that's all about industry. I'm an industrial engineer, so I always think about processes. So I always see innovation about how to be able to streamline processes, to make processes work better, how to make things easier in your life. So that's how I think about innovation.
And now we'll talk about the future in a little bit, but I'd like to take a moment to look back first. So on if you think back to when you started off, you said more than 10 years ago versus now. Can you take us back to that moment when tell us about a certain innovation or technology you were excited about and where it went, where it is right now with that innovation?
Oh my God, that's a great question. And it's the last 10 years have seen tons and tons of changes in innovation. And I want to focus mostly about what everybody calls about digital transformation, because that has been something that has had a big leap during the past 10 years. And a very quick example of how we do it and how we have approached it in our company, and something that I led within the company, is that we started to identify how 3D technology and virtualization technology can help us create garments and can help us create the process of creating collections from the get-go. And we started that process very early in the game. I can say it's been almost 7 years since we started that process. And when we started, the technology was there, but it wasn't what it needed to be. But we stick with it and we continue learning through it. And over the past 7 years, we have seen the evolution. And what we thought was amazing back there today is totally different, and we're seeing the results that we saw back then, and we're seeing the results today, and it's game changing. And it's funny, I always have a visual when I give presentations internally in the company of how each one of our brands has their own room when they share their collections, where they share their thoughts when they have their internal meetings and things like that. And I have a video comparing how that room looks 7 years ago and how it looks today. And 7 years ago, everything was big boards, everything printed, all the collections, everything laid out on boards, and it was a big mess. And today, those rooms are one big screen. And then everything is presented in a digital way. We're using digital boards. We're using 3D technology. We're doing all of that. And just to see how that change of mind of how we want to an industry that it's 100% very touchy-feely and how to be able to make that change and to be able to make decisions in a big screen. That has been a big change, and that has been something that I'm very proud of that we were able to achieve, because that shows you that there's two things about technology. It's the technology itself, but also the being able to adopt that specific technology. And one goes hand by hand by the other, because maybe there's some technologies that are very early in the game and people don't adopt them because they don't understand it or they don't know how to be able to use it. And then they're considered failures, even though they're great technologies. But it has to go hand by hand. And that's a work that we have to do internally, for example, in our company, to be able to adopt technologies that we feel that are going to make the processes and are going to make everybody do their work in a more efficient way.
And I mean, that's a huge transition, right? That transformation that you've helped go through. Can you share a bit more how this happens in such a large company, and what your, let's say, looking back at the past 10 years, your tips and tricks are to get that done? Because that's a huge feat.
It's a lot of grinding, a lot of convincing, a lot of presentations, but mostly it's about trying to sit in the same table as the people who are going to be affected by the technology and understand their pain points, understand what's their process. And I always tell to my team that we have to be the smarter people in the room, because we have to be able to talk to them on the same level, but we have to come out with solutions for them. So it's not about only understanding the technology, it's understanding the workflow and the people who that technology is going to affect, and be able to grind with them and be able to be with them and be able to sit with them and go through the process with them and things like that. I've been very fortunate that when we started the process internally at Perry Ellis, we started with a very small team just to be able to get a proof of concepts. I'm a fairly believer that proof of concepts are very important when you want to be able to get an innovation, get it started. So we started with a proof of concept, and the part of the team that was doing the proof of concept liked very much the technology. They liked it very much, and they were able to get into it very fast. And I was able to fortune to transition one of those people in that POC to join my team, because maybe I'm a foreign to some of the people that I was talking to, but if somebody in their same level, the same trade, was able to talk to them exactly the same language, then it would be easier for them to be able to understand it and to be able to adopt it. And that was something that we were able to do very efficiently. And that's the way that we started, with getting small, with smaller teams, and then start growing and growing and growing. And always celebrate those small wins. Like everybody tells you, like, this is not super important. Don't worry. Like those small wins internally and those specific things that you were able to change and things like that, celebrate them, promote them, like show people that those things are actually making a change, they're making a difference. And you have to be a cheerleader behind everything that you do, and you have to grind, and there are going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, but you have to be a believer in the technology that you're trying to implement.
Sounds very much like building a company.
It's a little bit about like that. It's having that. I would think it's having that startup mentality. It's funny enough, because of course I'm not building a company. I'm already working in a company that is a very successful company, and I'm very excited to be working in this company. But I was able to given the freedom to influence within the company. That's something that sometimes is not very easy. And that's the part that I feel more successful on, is that I was able to, with my team, we were able to influence that change, and that gives you a lot of gratitude behind it. And maybe that's the same feeling when you succeed on building your own company. It's being able to see the fruits of your efforts. So a little bit similar, but I wouldn't put in the same level.
That's super interesting to that metaphor. And there, I mean, so how can you shed a bit more light on how something like this happens, right? When you say a project or a transformation, is it usually more, there's a board level decision about this topic and then it needs to get implemented? Or is it much more, you might be seeing some things in the market which are interesting to introduce to the company? What's the dynamic there? How much top down, bottom up?
So it's a little bit of everything. Again, I'm lucky that at Perry Ellis, the leadership team, it's a true believer about technology, about innovation. So they're always pushing and asking us to be able to come out with new things, with new technologies, what's new out there, let's try, let's test, and things like that. So you need to have that as on the executive level, because if you don't have those type of people that believe in the things that you're doing, then it becomes very hard. And then part of my job is that I have to be up to date on the technologies that I know that can affect our company. And I go out there, I talk to as many companies as I can. Some of them are very early, some of them are not that early. And I learn about it. I learn what they have to offer. And then by me already understanding what are the needs of the company, then I see which ones I feel that can benefit us. And then it's the process all over again, talking internally with the teams, convincing them about the technology, doing small POCs, see the results of the POCs. Like, we're very data driven, so understanding what we're trying to achieve. It's not just doing something for the sake of it. It's like we're trying to do something to affect something, and we have to be very data oriented. We have to be able to showcase that the technology actually generated what we wanted to generate in some cases, and go through that circle again and show the small wins and be able to implement it, and then go on to the next one and go on to the next one. Sometimes it's very stressful because it's very hard to always come out with a winner. Sometimes it's hard to always like showcase that there's a specific need, and sometimes you firmly believe internally that this technology can actually make a change, and then when you put it to the test and when you put it there, you see that maybe the technology is not ready yet for that, and then you have to continue looking into it and then figure out when it's ready, or maybe it's not going to be ready, and then go to the next one, and so on and so forth. So, but you definitely need to have sponsorship from the executive team. If you don't have sponsorship from the executive team, innovating or promoting anything internally becomes very hard.
Interesting one. And now, so if we took a look at the past a little bit, and if we shift focus to now, to the present. So what are the topics that excite you, that you think are very relevant to look into?
So that definitely every conversation that we're having today has to have AI on it. And it's not because it's a fad and everybody wants to be like an AI expert or things like that, because it's actually a real conversation that it's actually gonna be able to change the way that we work and we live and so on and so forth. So it's a now, it's what's gonna happen, and we need to be able to accept it. So everything that has to come with AI and can make, we definitely need to be in the forefront. We need to be able to understand it. We need to able to learn from it, and not being super afraid of it, because there's a lot of misconceptions about what AI can do and AI taking over everything. So we've done a lot of research when it comes to Gen AI. We're in the fashion industry. We create fashion. We create different trends. We create different things, and we want to be able to understand what's possible with Gen AI today. And we have started seeing that a lot of cases with Gen AI are, we're going to create a new garment, a new image, a new copy, a new this, and things like that. But it's not there yet that it can replace 100% the work of somebody. So we're seeing it that it's a very good assistant. So Gen AI is becoming an amazing assistant. So we incorporate it in the process, not to threaten the people that are going to use it, but for them to think that this is an assistant that can guide you through the process. It doesn't mean that it's always going to provide you with the correct answer, or it's always going to provide you with something that you like, but it means that it's going to help you make your juices flow a little bit more, and be able to be more eloquent on the things that you're able to do, but to make it in a faster way and in a more relatable way. So I always think about that process of how we can work together within the technology, and don't see it as a threat, but see it as something that it's helping you achieve the goal that you want to be able to achieve. In the future, then we're definitely going to be able to see that this technology is going to evolve more and more and more and more. It's evolving more and more and more every day. And it's going to be able to provide, and it's going to be able to be more to the point that you want it to be. So maybe in some instances, some mundane jobs or some mundane tasks can be fully automated by the technology in the future. I do believe, but there's still time to be able to wait on those instances. But I'm very excited of what the technology could be able to do for us. Like AI, it's not new. The AI has been around forever. The thing is that what made it new is that our interaction with the everyday people using AI, chatting to ChatGPT or to any of those things. That what made it excited. But AI as itself has been there for the longest time. So it's not that it's something that was created by OpenAI 5 years ago and now it's coming to life.
Interesting. So you're really building it into the company, and I'd love to also understand a bit more how you view the landscape now with AI, and you being a consumer company, how you see that interaction between AI, machine, and humans, and then also the need for humans to still wanting to connect with humans online and through humans, maybe even buying your product. I'd love to understand your view on that relationship.
Yeah. So this is something funny. Even though I'm on innovation, I always try to see new things. I'm a firmly believer that the human connection, the interaction within humans, it's a must for everything that we do. I believe that that's what makes us human, that sort of interaction. So we have to be able to understand that we need to be able to continue having those sort of interactions, to continue to having that in order to be able to coexist together. But we cannot put aside the technology portion of what the world is today. So I think that as a whole, we need to find a correct balance of what's good for us to be able to continue that human interaction, to continue that, but also be able to leverage the technologies out there. In the past, you and I wouldn't be able to do this live stream together if it wasn't for technology. I would have you either would have to travel where I was or things like that. But we're able to have this. It's even though it's through technology, we're able to have this human interaction. I'm talking to you. You're a person. You're not an AI generated robot or something like that. So we're having that human interaction, but we're doing it through a technology that it's helping us connect wherever you are, wherever I am at this moment. So these are the sort of things that we have to take advantage of, but we need to be able to understand that what really makes us human, it's that sort of like interaction. So I do believe and the funny thing is we're a fashion company, so we're building something for humans. So we definitely still need to have that human interaction, and we cannot have a machine, for example, doing all the designs for our company or things like that, because I feel that what makes brands and what makes things click in for example in this industry, in the fashion industry, it's that human knowledge and that human heart and feeling creating something for other peers, for other humans, and I think that that's something that cannot be replicated with any machine, or unless I honestly don't feel that can be a part of the equation. But it doesn't mean that we cannot use this technology to help us create things. So I think there's a good tandem between the both of them.
That's great to hear also. I mean, I of course agree that I think technology, the way we see it as well, is really to bring people together more easily, and having people that probably didn't even know each other get to meet through, for example, a shared brand that they love. Meeting through the products and how they use the products and how they love to have them in certain circumstances, whether it's for sports, lifestyle, outs, whatever it might be, but to really connect on that level and enabling that as a brand. So that's really what I love about the space we're building with here.
Yeah, no, and the whole thing is that there is no local brand anymore. So today, all brands are global, and that's something that wasn't the case 20 years ago or something like that. So those hidden brands that you were like travel to this specific place just to find this brand or things like that, those things are not there, and if they are there, they're very few, and like they've been kept in very, very, very hush hush. But all brands are global right now, and that's good for a lot of brands, and that's not good for a lot of brands, because that means that you need to be able to to continue innovating, because your competition is not within your country. Your competition now, it's global, and it's more, and people that are maybe a little bit hungrier to be able to create something new or have new ideas or come out with something new. And today it becomes so easy to be able to communicate these new things. And maybe it's so easy that we have like it's overwhelming at some cases, because like there's so much up there, like everything is out there, there's a lot of voice out there. So like, what makes a good brand? What doesn't create a good brand? What's good? What's not good? Is it price? Is it something that talks to me? Is it and that's what brands need to be able to understand nowadays, who they're designing to, who are they talking to, because they're not only talking to a few folks are out there. Now they're talking to the entire world, which is something that it's super excited right now.
I think this is a topic I'd love to spend a few minutes on as well. It's the who they're talking to and the data that goes behind that. How do you think about that? Because I mean, thinking back 15 years ago or so, when everybody all the brands basically started to discover social media platforms and all of that, it became very easy to communicate with an audience, and brands started to rely a lot on building an audience on those third-party platforms. And now, talking to a lot of different brands, they're kind of waking up to the fact that they don't own that relationship, that they have to go through an algorithm, and now they're looking to find ways how to get data on, so not just purchasing data, but really like social understanding of who these people are that really love the brand. How do you think about that in innovation terms?
Yeah, it's very hard, because at the end of the day, everything is a business. It became a business, so you don't control the algorithm on any of these social media platforms, because they need to make money, a lot of money, and they make a lot of money out of your clicks, your advertising, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So it's sometimes very hard for you to be able to spend money and really understanding that you're actually getting the results and really targeting the people that you want to target. So that's why I believe that the whole influencer market has been so successful, because these influencers, and mainly like those micro influencers, are able to reach that community and that sort of targets in a more direct way, because the small community that these influencers are building are loyal to them. So it's easier to be able to target that community if you feel that community, it's the one that you're able to target and you want to talk to, rather than just put it out there and let an algorithm actually do it for you. So that's why I feel that more brands today, they feel that I rather spend more money it's with these influencers, with these people that we believe that talk the same language as our brand, as our company, and they're building these communities, and they're able to actually talk more direct to them than just actually putting more money out there, just buying ads and things like that maybe are gonna get to the people, but are they actually gonna trigger conversion? Are they actually going to be able to understand the message, or are they just going to be able to like swipe it and swipe it and swipe it and not actually review it? So I think that with that much noise, people are actually already trying to figure out who are these people, or who are these different social media platform or channels that are actually talking what they want to hear, that what's important for them. So I think that that's how brands are trying to rethink the way that they get their word out.
Yeah, so like shifting to working with creators, but even there, I feel like so they might get the audiences more, but even there, in the end, they wouldn't know who watched it, who saw it, who engaged with it. So how do you think about this first party data? Is there some kind of way you think about it, or recommendations how brands could think about it?
Again, it's hard. Maybe it's a little bit out of my league. I'm not a marketing expert or ecom expert, so like I would love to say more about it, but my personal feeling is that there are tons of tools, and there's tons of tools that I review, that I research when it comes to targeted marketing, to understand the clicks, to understand the personas that buy from you, and those tools generate what like your understanding about your community, about the people that you're talking to, and things like that. So then it's up to the brand to be able to be smart enough of understanding that and see what makes more sense of how to relate to them. Is it email? Is it be an influencer? Is it doing in-store events? Is it, I don't know, doing virtual events, doing different things? So it's up to the brand, but the brand today has so much data on their community and on their clients that it's up to the brands, it's up to the to be able to understand that data, to be able to tabulate that data, and to be able to say like, okay, this is my community, these are my target personas that I want to be able to reach. What's the best way for me to reach out to them and make that decision and be able to make that? And the data is out there, and then there's a lot of companies that can give you the data to the dot of like, who's the people that are buying you, where do they live, how much they spend, what makes them click, like all of that data, it's out there. Now it's up to you as a brand to be able to say like, okay, these are my audiences, what's the best way to trigger them? Is it old school advertising? Just put in a billboard in Times Square? I don't know. Is it put in an ad on a baseball game or a football game or whatever? Like, it all depends on who your audience is. Maybe your audience is just thinking about doing something that goes viral. What makes it something goes viral? You have no idea. Something can go viral today and don't know, like, but it's I think that the brands right now are constantly thinking about new things and not sticking only to the same things, but trying to get more things going out there and see what clicks and what doesn't click. And that would be my recommendations to brands. It's not to be worried about exactly what the specific way to be able to target, but try different things to be able to target that community and see what works better and what doesn't work better. And maybe something worked amazingly one time. It doesn't mean that it's going to work amazingly next time. You need, again, refresh the memory, think about new things, and go ahead out there. I think that today for these type of like marketing people and all that stuff, it becomes very hard because the attention span of everybody is very limited today. And to be able to win that attention takes a lot of money and takes a lot of time. And it's hard. Today, we're overwhelmed with people trying to sell us something, and it's too much. I don't think that the human brain can handle so much information and can handle so much things. It's too much. It's sometimes I definitely tell some people I in some cases I don't have a lot of social media channels for me personally open. I don't have them. I want sometimes to just be able to silence things and to be able to clear my head, and that's the way that I see it. But some people will tell me like, "Are you crazy? How can you don't have it?" And I say like, "I don't have it." Like, that's my way for me to stay sane and to be able to stay in a different place. But that's me.
It's ultimate luxury.
Yeah, I think that something that we own and nobody can take away from us, it's our time and our minds, and we have to own that. And sometimes we get so distracted in all the noise out there that we have to be able to be smart enough that we sometimes need to be able to clear our head and be able to pay attention and spend the time on the things that actually makes us a whole, makes us grow a little bit more. And that's what's worth it. Yes, we learn that as we mature a little bit more. And sometimes it's like we want to be everywhere and at the same time, and what makes, but that's the way that my mentality works nowadays. And I think it works for me. It doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody.
That's great to hear. And thanks so much, and especially from somebody who's been in innovation for so long as you, to sometimes disconnect does good. I think that's a great way to end the live. And I wanted to thank you so much for all your insights and sharing your experiences here. It's been really lovely. And I know on your side, maybe you want to share if people wanted to connect with you, on LinkedIn or...
LinkedIn is the best way to connect with me. That's the one channel that I do keep open. So look for me, Isaac Korn. I'm there. Send me a quick chat or quick note, and I'm more than happy to be able to connect to anybody. And Roy, thank you very much for your time. Totally appreciate it. And I'm here to continue the conversation whenever you feel like it.
Absolutely. And well, it's going to be a big week for fashion this week, right? With New York Fashion Week coming up.
Yeah, it's always a big week for fashion, that's for sure.